Hello, and thank you for joining me for today's anime discussion. So, this week's theme is fun and games, and in keeping with that theme, for this video I'm going to talk about my top 5 favorite anime that have a game as a theme, or games as a theme. They're in no particular order except for maybe like number 1. So I'm going to start with number 5, which is No Game, No Life. So this anime follows a pair of extremely introverted siblings. In Japan, the term would be hikikomori. They're step-siblings. They are very intelligent, very introverted, and they're very good at games as well. It goes along with their intelligence. So they're undefeated too, which is something interesting. It's fantastical, but one day online they start playing a game against this person that turns out to be the god of games from a different reality, and they win. They beat him, and they are transported to this reality, to that god's world, which is basically everything is decided by games. Like, there's no actual war or conflict. If there's a territorial dispute or something like that, they don't, get some cannons and tanks and soldiers and go fight it out. What they do instead is they play a game and the winner wins. Which is very fair. There are these things called the 10 pledges that prevent different kind of unfairnesses from the game, having to fulfill what you promised. But there's also a little leeway in some of the rules, like you can cheat if you are not caught cheating, or something like that. It's cheating, really cheating if you're not caught. That's number 5. Number 4 is going to be Log Horizon. Now, Log Horizon, and which most of the anime on this list are going to be isekai anime. But Log Horizon, the story of that is that there's there's a game, very popular MMORPG that, you would expect, World of Warcraft or something like that. It's a very popular MMORPG that's getting an update. And there's 30,000 people in Japan that are logged on when the update happens, and they're transported into the game world. Now, a lot of stories in isekai anime, other than things like Sword Art Online, which will be later on the list, have to do with one player or one person being transported to this world, and they're the overpowered character, or they're the only one that can do certain things, or they have certain in-depth knowledge of the game that the other characters in the game don't have, or the other characters in the world don't have, because they have the knowledge of the world from when it was a game. But this one, 30,000 people go along. And what I really like about this anime is that it's more technical in scope. It really breaks down the challenges of surviving in their new world, adapting their real-world knowledge into that world. With 30,000 people, you have a very big cross-section of knowledge. You have some people that are engineers, mathematicians, scientists, people that can actually use the materials in that world to build things that may not have normally been in that game world. So it's very interesting to see, it was very interesting watching that series to see how this group adapts to living in this world. The main character, Shiroe, he's also an introvert, like the people from, the number 5, No Game, No Life. He's a very technical, tactical player, and so he's kind of, a lot of times, one of the generals behind lines that comes up with plans and strategies and things like that. Number 3, well, I just mentioned in number 4, Sword Art Online. Number 3 is Sword Art Online. Now, out of this, for people that have watched anime, it probably needs no introduction. If you're new to anime, it's one of the more popular animes. Now, this one, rather than technically being transported into an alternate reality or an alternate world, how the story is that this massively multiplayer online role-playing game, virtual one. A virtual reality one where you're in the game, you put on a helmet and your consciousness is transferred into the game when you play it. The creator of it went crazy, and the main character Kirito, and Asuna, those two, the dream couple of SAO, Kirito was a beta player, so he played the beta version of the game. When the actual release of the game came around, the creator deployed a program that basically made it to where people couldn't log out. If somebody tried to forcefully unplug the machine or log them out from outside, their brain would explode or something like that. And if you died in the game, you died for real when your HP reached 0. And a lot of the series covers Kirito, who he has his beta player knowledge and levels up and kind of uncovers this conspiracy. I don't want to spoil too much of the story, but they do go on to figure out how to get out of the game. They do get out of the game. There are a couple of seasons of it. After they do get out of the game, Kirito kind of becomes a person that the government or certain organizations go to as far as finding out or investigating things going on with games or different things related to virtual reality and artificial intelligence. And that's number 3. Number 2 is Overlord. Now, what I really like about Overlord is this one brings in the theme from one of our previous videos. We talked about the saga of Tanya the Evil. For this one, the main character is kind of an anti-hero. I won't expressly call them a villain, but he is, supposed to be a villain-like character. So, in this game, in this anime, we have our main character, Momonga. There's this insanely popular game. Again, think something like World of Warcraft, which I'm going to use that, that same comparison in a little bit for this same show. It's an insanely popular game, and this character Momonga, he's part of one of the top guilds, with all high-level players. After 12 years of games, the game is going to be shut down, and the server's going to be turned off, so no more game. So he's logged in when this happens, and instead of being disconnected, he is transported into the world of the game. Now, his behavior starts to be influenced by the type of character he is, and he's an undead sorcerer type of character. If you think of things like World of Warcraft, if you guys aren't familiar with that, in World of Warcraft there are 2 factions, the Alliance and the Horde. The Alliance have classically primarily been the races that are more good-oriented or light-side-oriented, and the Horde have been the characters that are more like your undead, your vampires, blood elves, your things like that, your more villainous characters with a more nefarious nature. So in this series, he's influenced by that. So the series follows him as he kind of explores the world. He changes his name to the name of the guild, which was Ainz and he is sent about trying to discover what's going on with the world, what happened, see if there are any more of his guild mates or friends or other players in this world with him. And it's a very interesting series. It's really fun to watch. Give it a try. So that's 4 of our 5. Number 1 is going to be, for me, YuGiOh. Now, this one is not an isekai anime, kind of like the other 4. Technically, I don't know if I would call Sword Art Online isekai, because they are in the game world, but they aren't transported there. trapped. The nature of them being trapped in that world is via technology. They just can't log out, which does happen in some stories for animes. But number one for me is YuGiOh. Now this is an older one. It's a classic one, and it has a near and dear place to my heart. It was, on network television when I was a kid. It was one of the first, one of the shows again that was an anime before anime was as widely known and as widely watched as it is now in the United States. So YuGiOh follows the story of, it's a trading card game. YuGiOh follows the story of the character YuGiMoto, who has the spirit of an ancient pharaoh that was the king of games inside a magical item strapped to his chest, and he's very good at playing this trading card game. And this series just follows that, him fighting, battling against other players in this trading card game, winning against them, discovering the secrets of why the pharaoh's there, because the pharaoh's also lost his memory. He's lost some memories of why he is where he is, which they do get to by the end of the series, of the original series. It does have a couple of series with different main characters after the original YuGiMoto is gone, different incarnations where, there's even a school where people go to learn how to play this trading card game. I myself used to collect the cards when I was younger and played at it. The last time I played it was via an online platform, but this one has always had a near and dear place to my heart because it's also always nice when you have that crossover into the real world, because it's a physical game. There are video games sometimes that cover some of these other series, there might be a video game of a Sword Art Online video game, but a physical trading card game, a physical game that you can play with friends, family, or online with strangers, and is really something that's more fun. So those are my top 5. Stay tuned. Next, we're gonna have this week's craft, which is an anime, origami toy. Have anime on the brain now. Now that we're done talking about our top 5, this week's craft is going to be this origami toy. See how fun it is. So I'm going to start with a post-it note or sticky note, 3x3. I'm going to fold it in half down the middle. I'm going to fold it in half again in here. So I'm going to do also horizontal, vertical, and 2 diagonal folds. Just like this. Alright, crease it to make sure it's straight right there. Alright. Then I'm going to take my piece of paper and I'm going to fold it just like this so the insides are out, and it's like a pyramid, kind of like if you watch the origami butterfly video. This the first step of that. All right, and so your piece of paper should look like this. Fold it like that, and then I'm going to take the top and I'm going to fold it straight down along the crease. The same thing on the left and right here. And then I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Again, folding it along that center crease. All right. Yeah. So with this shape, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make 7 more of these for a total of 8 pieces all together. Alright, so I'm going to take these flaps. There are 4 flaps, like 2 top, 2 bottom flaps on each side, and I'm going to take the 2 bottom flaps and I'm going to, just like this, I'm going to nest the flaps inside of each other. So the left flap and the left flap and the right flap and the right flap. Well, Alright. So I'm going to nest that inside. Should fit snugly like this. Alright. Push it in a little bit more. There we go. all together, and then I'm going to fold it down like this, which kind of locks them together in place. I'm going to repeat this. You can use any colors that you want. I used 2 colors alternating, and I nested them all inside of each other, and that leaves 2 flaps at the end to be nested inside to complete a circle. Just a minute to nest those inside. One another, bam. All right, and then I'm gonna take it and then I'm gonna fold it closed like so. And ta-da! Done, our origami toy. Now the cool thing about this one is that, let's see here, you can take it and you can fold it in and out, and also it kind of like pops almost like a firework once you see it, like turn it inside like this. Alright, and then a little bit more and like that. Now this thing can be, you know, inverted endlessly, well, you know, until the paper wears down, but like you can keep turning it in one direction without twisting the paper. It's a pretty cool toy. Thank you for joining us for our discussion and craft today. We talked about our top 5 favorite anime, so please let me know what your top 5 favorite anime that are game themed are as well, and let me know in the comments, and I hope to see you guys again next week. Thank you for watching. Please visit us online at hcpl.net, as well as download the Overdrive or Libby app in order to check out our electronic materials, including ebooks and e-audiobooks. Also, please follow us on social media in order to keep updated on new content from the North Channel Branch Library and Harris County Public Library Systems. Thank you for watching.